Hi, Assalamualaikum. Kita continue with our new topic, which is on accounting for investment. Okay, this is like the second last topic for our subject, and as you guys know, investment according to this topic, investment can be ada three types of investment. Whether we can invest in sukuk or bond, or buy shares, or probably buy REITs or real estate investment. Okay, untuk the first types of investment, which is by sukuk or bond ni, according to the slide, sukuk or bond is generally implies transferable certificate that representing a shares in an ownership of asset or business venture that give entitlement to the sukuk holders to receive periodic fixed return and full redemptions upon maturity of the sukuk. Means that I've just like summarized the definitions of sukuk here. Sukuk is like a paper of certificate which whoever own this certificate, meaning that dia ada shares is dia ada shares in the asset. Means whoever own this certificate or sukuk certificate, dia ada shares in the asset. Mean if this asset provide return atau boleh generate return, so the return ni akan juga diagihkan kepada this sukuk holders lah. Kiranya siapa yang own that certificate pun akan dapat profit from yang di-generate from the asset tadi. So dia ada beberapa types of sukuk ni. That according to the Sharia contract, okay, as according to the slide, dia cakap IOV FAR618 classify Islamic bond into at least 4 types. So the first type is on mudarabah sukuk, musyarakah sukuk, ijarah sukuk, and salam and istisna. Kita dah go through banyak kali dah pasal Sharia contract ni, and you guys already like know mudarabah musyarakah is a partnership based contract, which this involve with mudarib and also robuman. And as for ijarah sukuk, ijarah is a leasing based contract, and salam and istisna sukuk is related with forward sales. Means the product isn't like ready yet or probably tak delivered lagi, but we have to make an advance payment in order to acquire that asset. Okay, untuk mudarabah sukuk ni kan saya cakap it is like partnership contract, isn't it? So dia involve with mudarib and robuman. So dia nak cakap kat sini, bila sukuk ni dah owned by the robuman or by someone yang issue suku, dia cakap dia akan registered in the names of holders on the basis of undivided ownership of shares in the mudarabah equity, and it's written according to the percentage of ownership of the share, and the owner of such suku are the robuman. Means saya akan lukis dia punya structure sini. Kan mudarabah ada robuman. Means dia ni akan provide the capital. So dia is the capital provider to the mudarib. Right? Ataupun mudarib ni akan invest to any of the project lah kan. So robuman here, dia nak cakap under mudarabah sukuk, dia ni is the sukuk holders lah. Sukuk holders mean any return dia akan dapat, profit dia akan dapat. So profit and return is the same thing. So profit from the project, robuman akan dapat juga, and also mudarib pun akan dapat juga, but it is according to the profit ratio, sharing ratio yang being agreed macam masa awal-awal kontrak tu. And korang tahu this contract, memang bila project ni making any profit, memang dia akan share lah kan, between Rock Woman and also Mudorib. So korang tahu dia punya profit distribution tu macam mana. But untuk nak kaitkan dengan sukuk, korang just have to know which one is the sukuk holders. So untuk menderubah sukuk ni, the sukuk holders is Rock Woman itself. Okay, and then untuk musyarakah sukuk same like mudarabah. Cuma untuk musyarakah kan dia ada dua-dua sekali, the Mudarib and Rock Woman here, dua-dua akan provide cash or capital to the project. So macam mudarabah, hanya Rock Woman sahaja yang akan bagi cash to the Mudarib, right, as the capital. But as for musyarakah, right, Rock Woman tu dia akan provide cash into the project, right. Yang Mudorib ni dia bukan sahaja provide labor or technology to like manage the project, but dia also akan provide cash. So dua-dua ni akan provide cash in the project, right. And then dia cakap kat sini apa yang membezakan antara mudarabah dan musyarakah is like the relationship between ialah party issuing sukuk forms of community tadi. Now apa yang nak membezakan is the sukuk holders lah, siapa yang hold the sukuk in musyarakah ni. So dia macam decided based on the one yang who can be referred to an investment decision, meaning the one yang making investment decision is the sukuk holders. So it can be the Rock Woman or it can be the Mudarib. So sekarang ni siapa yang provide like the most amount of cash can be the sukuk holders lah in musyarakah ni. Okay, and disebabkan dia adalah partnership contract, dia punya konsep of return of profit sama macam mudarabah lah. Kiranya bila projek ni dapat profit, and dia punya profit akan di-share according to the profit agreed ratio between the Rock Woman and Mudarib. Itu untuk musyarakah. Okay, untuk ijarah. Ijarah ni kan is like leasing contract. So these are sukuk that represent ownership of equal shares in a rented real estate or usufruct of the real estate. So ia related with renting. So you lease an equity or a real estate or a property or an asset. So that leasing contract is called as ijarah sukuk, but because it is not simply ijarah, it's related with sukuk. Dia cakap this sukuk give their owners the right to own the real estate, receive the rent and dispose their sukuk in a manner that does not affect the right of the lessee. For example, they are tradable, mean this ijarah sukuk tu are tradable, and the holders of such sukuk bear all costs of maintenance and damage of the real estate. Okay, let's say dia regarding a rented real estate. So let's say kita ada like investors who is the sukuk holders, right, and then kita ada like issue ni yang nakkan sukuk tu lah kan. So dia ni issue sukuk from the investors. So now the investors ni ada shares in the asset or probably real estate of the issue ni. Mula-mula of course kena ada transaction between issuer and investors. Now bila issuer dah issue bond with the investors akan keluarkan bond to the issuer lah. Now issuer dapat the fund, right, from the investors tu. Now dia ni gunakan that fund to buy an asset. So ini asset lah, let's say this is the real estate asset tadi. So real estate tadi, asset tadi. So bila dia dah own this asset, dia boleh gunakan this asset. Okay, let's say dia dah dapat this asset, right? Bila dia boleh gunakan this asset to rent it out to other like third parties lah. Right, let's say lah to A, dia akan renting the asset ni to A. So now A ni akan buat payment, right? Renting payment to the issuer. So issuer ni sekarang dapat rent payment from A. So by dia punya leasing fees tadi, by the payment yang dia dapat daripada lesi ni tadi, AC pun salah. Okay, AC ni tadi dia gunakan duit tu untuk dia bayar balik the bond to the investors. That's why dia cakap bond ni yang issued from the investors ni is transferable, sebab by using the bond, the issuer boleh beli that bond atau boleh transfer the bond to buy a real estate asset, and bila dia dah acquire that asset, dia boleh renting the real estate asset to a lessee, yang dia from the lessee just now dia boleh generate the like renting fees, and so that dia boleh guna the renting fees to the investors. And then dia cakap lah, the holders of such sukuk bears all costs of in maintenance of and damage of the real estate. Because of issuer ni sekarang dah dapat bond from the investors, so dia ni liable to any like maintenance cost or damage of the real estate lah. Okay, that is like the structure of ijarah. Untuk salam and istisna, salam and istisna macam saya cakap, dua-dua adalah regarding a forward payment. Dua-dua kita kena bayar dulu barang sama ada belum siap tengah manufacture as for istisna, ataupun barang tu dah ready, dah siap, cuma dia belum sampai ke tangan kita. So salam sukuk ni dia represent, macam saya cakap lah, a sales of a commodity on the basis of deferred delivery against immediate payment. So barang tak sampai tapi kita dah bayar dulu spot payment, and the deferred commodity is a debt in kind against the supplier because it refers to a commodity which is accepted based on its descriptions of seller. Means bila kita dah bayar, so seller ni liable to provide that goods to us lah. So that's why dia cakap it's somehow a debt in kind against the supplier. So dia adalah liability yang di mana dia obliged to deliver the goods to the customer yang dah bayar awal-awal tadi tu. But dia cakap istisna suku is similar to salam suku, except it is permissible to defer payment in an istisna transaction but not in the salam. Kalau salam, kita kena buat immediate payment sebab barang dah ready, cuma barang tu tak sampai. Macam kita beli barang daripada China, kita bayar dulu that barang, but because of the shipping ke somehow kan, barang tu deferred. So itu boleh dikategorikan contoh salam lah. Untuk istisna, because contoh macam kita kena manufacture that goods, contoh kita kena manufacture a house. So selagi rumah tu tak siap, selagi tu kita tak buat like full payment of that contract, right? So sebab tu untuk istisna suku dia permissible to deferred payment lah. Kiranya kena bayar half-half dulu ke sampai rumah tu siap, macam tu lah tu untuk istisna suku. So dia cakap in both salam and istisna, the subject matter of the sales is an obligation on the manufacturer or the builder in the case of istisna and the seller in the case of salam. Of course, macam saya cakap tadi, manufacturer sekarang ni is obliged to siapkan that house for the customer. Untuk yang seller tadi tu is obliged to deliver the goods to the salam. That's why diorang ni ada both, ada debt in kind lah. Sebab dua-dua dah bayar. The project dah dibayar, cuma diorang ni kena siapkan lah according to the delivered time ataupun date. Then hence, both instruments can neither be sold nor traded before their maturity date if either the buyer or the seller of the commodity issues them. Okay, maksudnya untuk both salam and istisna ni, selagi barang tak sampai, selagi barang tak siap, the bond or the asset cannot be sold. Means bila the bond or the asset cannot be sold, kan, dia treated as investment held to maturity. Selagi the asset atau the barang atau the commodity yang kita beli on the spot tadi tu is not yet been delivered to us and kita tak receive the full amount of the full commodity itulah. So kita classify it as an investment helps to maturity. Means kita tak boleh nak jual atau buy the asset lagi lah. Okay, that one on suku. Habis on suku. So, korang just kena tahu the definition and the types of suku. Tadi ada 4 kan. So, ini adalah the types of suku tu. Okay. And then, kita go to shares. Means, kita boleh invest by shares. Shares ni kan, macam korang pernah belajar. Yang korang dah SEM 5 pun, korang mesti dah pernah go through benda-benda ni semua. Untuk shares, dia ada dua. Satu is preferred shares. Preferred shares. And another one is ordinary shares. Ordinary shares. So it is when an investors, or the investors can be any company. So dia beli this, probably any of these two shares in the company. Yang dia, when dia invest, when dia buy these shares, kiranya dia invest like certain amount of money to the company. And bila dia ada shares in that company, meaning the company punya profit probably akan di-generate and distribute to the investors tadi tu. So, untuk shares, kita tengok kat slide. The definition of shares is itself, dia cakap, shares of a company represent ownership of the company's asset and liability, and the price of the shares can be considered as representing the value of this ownership. Macam saya cakap, setiap company ada shares dia tersendiri. And bila someone acquired that shares, meaning that that investors ada ownership in the company's asset and liability. And the price of the asset is depending on the market price or the stock price yang in the market lah. So untuk in syariah lah, kita kena screen di shares sebab dekat Malaysia and any other country, probably that company ada like lakukan atau dia ada jual non-syariah produk, yang dia jual alkohol ke, dia ada unsur gambling ke, atau entertainment yang ada unsur gambling ke, or probably in terms of financing, dia ada masukkan like interest. So kita as a Muslim, that kind of activity is a forbidden activities yang kita tak boleh nak guna lah kan. So that's why according to syariah, kita kena buat screening process in this shares ni. So the first screening, kita kena buat business screening. Mean for the definition of business screening itself is like, kita kena screen the business activity of that company, whether that company is syariah compliance company, business activity ataupun tidak. So Ni apa yang saya dah cakap tadi lah. So macam contoh business screening yang kita kena buat, macam the company probably ada buat sales and manufacturing of alcohol, gambling, gaming, casino, like pornography, or probably conventional interest-based finance ke. So this is the macam examples of the business activity yang probably need to be screening. And then the issue on this business screening is on the availability of information. Because of what? Probably kita lack of information needed to screen the business activity. Probably the company tak nak disclose the information. So ada issues on that. And then probably ada change of business focus. Suddenly masa tengah screening, they change the business focus. So issue on that. And then customers exclusivity, probably kenapa dia buat this business is because of the target customer. That's why dia terpaksa ke buat business activity ni ke, so on and so forth. So that is the 3 issue on the business screening itself. And then after lah kita dah buat business screening, kita kena juga buat financial screening, which kita nak kena tahu in depth on the financial sectors of the business. Sama ada that business ada ada unsur interest income in the financial, or ada unsur macam ada indebtedness in the financial. So kita juga akan go through the cash and the receivables of the financial system atau the process lah, sebab probably the cash is from somewhere yang prohibited, right? So that is the 2 syariah screening yang kita kena go through. Okay, kita according to this syariah screening process, ada 2 like methodology on this screening. Satu is IUV and another one is methodology. So saya buat kat sini lah metodologi Satu is like IUV screening, and another one is SC screening. SC ni Securities Commission screening. So dua-dua standard ni ada macam metodologi yang berbeza lah, ataupun benchmark percentage yang berbeza untuk nak kira dia punya syariah compliance of certain level of business activity or financial income tu tadi. Okay, untuk IOV screening, dia cakap untuk business screening according to the IOV, kan tadi kita ada 2 types of screening kan. So kita go through the first business screening dululah. According to IOV, dia cakap company yang does not stated in its memorandum of association that its objective to deal in interest or in prohibited goods or material like pork and others, that the total amount of income generated from such prohibited activity should not exceed 5% of the total incomes of the corporation. Means untuk business screening, according to IOV, kita akan screen business whoever yang tak ada listed under memorandums of association, ataupun yang dia company yang tak mention dia jual apa, ataupun whether they deal in interest or not. So any of the detail of the product lah in the memorandum of association, dia tak cerita. Dah lah tak cerita, and then dia generate pula income from the prohibited goods yang dia jual tadi tu. So the income yang dia generate from such prohibited activities, kita kena kira. So the income should not be exceed 5% of the total income of the corporation. So meaning 5% ni is the benchmark. Although dia tak tulis and stated the objective of dealing with this interest in the memorandums of association, but kita still have to like calculate dia punya income you receive from these prohibited activities up to 5%. So kalau lebih daripada 5%, dia tidak diterima lah, and kita mark it as a non-syariah compliant types of business activity. But the income is less than 5%, so it's okay. They still under syariah compliant business activity. Itu untuk business screening. Untuk financial screening, dia kena calculate like four types of calculation kat sini. Means untuk first calculation, kena calculate the total long and short term debt, mean total debt terus lah, divided by the market capitalization. So if we divide this total debt and market capitalization, if it is less than 30%, so it's considered Sharia compliant financial process. If it is more than 30%, so kita mark it as non-Sharia financials. Okay. The second calculation is on the total interest bearing securities divided by a market capitalization. If it is less than 30%, consider as Sharia compliance interest bearing securities. So kita boleh invest in those companies lah. Untuk yang third calculation, interest income divided by total income or total revenue must be less than 5%. So if it is less than 5% benchmark, dia lulus lah kiranya interest income yang dia terima from the prohibited activities tu is still considered Sharia compliance. Kita kena kira pula the last calculation is on cash and other receivables divided by the total asset. It must be less than 70%. So if it is less than 70%, means it's still under Sharia compliance benchmark lah. If it is more than 70%, so kita tak boleh mark the company as a Sharia compliance company. Okay, that one is under IOV screening. Untuk AC or Securities Commission screening, dia tak susah. Dia dah has been revised pun in November 2013. Untuk business screening ni kan, dia cakap under screening methodology for business screening ni ada 2 thresholds for the business activity. Dulu memang kena ada screen business activity dia dulu, business screening ataupun business activity screening. So untuk AC standard, dia dah revise lah, that has been revised in November 2013, baru punya methodology. Dia cakap under the new screening methodology, there are 2 thresholds for the business activity. One is 5% and another one is 20%. So maksudnya macam ni, 20% and 5% and 20%. So companies will be included if they generate less than 5% revenue before tax from the following sectors. So untuk business income-nya less than 5%, so dia punya income yang generated by yang kita nak calculate less than 5% tu lah adalah business activity yang buat yang ni, dia buat conventional bank yang ada include insurance, gambling, non-compliance, entertainment. So this is business activity yang akan calculate based on 5%. Okay. Tapi untuk yang calculate 20%, maksudnya the income must be less than 20%. Business activity dia must be this one. Hotel, trading, rental receipt from Sharia non-compliance, and also other activity that are deemed Sharia non-compliance. So kiranya ini pun awak macam kena hafal lah. Untuk benchmark, 5% benchmark, percentage ni macam benchmark kan. Untuk 5% benchmark, ini adalah company yang calculated dia punya income based on 5% benchmark. So ini yang bawah ni pula adalah aktiviti bisnes yang calculate based on 20% benchmark. Okay, tapi awak kena tahulah benchmark ni ataupun dia punya revenue yang dia gain ni tak boleh more than the benchmark rate. Okay. Tu untuk business activity. Untuk financial activity pula, financial screening pula, dia kena screen semua less than 33%. Maksudnya benchmark dia is 33%. Macam ni awak tengok financial screening. Dia cakap ada dua cara untuk nak buat financial screening ni. Macam tadi siapa? IOV standard ada 4, right? Untuk AC screening ada 2. Satu dia based on financial ratio lah, dua-dua ni. Satu is cash divided by total asset. Senang. Cash divided by total asset. And another one is total debt divided by total asset. Dan dua-dua ni dia punya jawapan and dia punya ratio should be less than 33%, and it pun should be less than 33% as the benchmark. Dia cakap lah kenapa cash and total asset ni dikira macam ni. Kenapa kita kena kira cash divided by total asset ni? Sebab dia kata dia nak divide kan ataupun dia nak separate kan the cash yang ada include in conventional account and the cash yang placed in the Islamic bank punya account. Maksudnya cash yang kita calculate ni adalah cash yang included placed in conventional account. Tahu? Bukan semua cash dia, tapi cash yang placed in a conventional account sahaja. Sebab sekarang kita nak calculate sama ada financial tu syariah compliance ataupun tidak kan. Tapi kenapa kita nak ambil cash yang dah memang deposited in Islamic punya account? Kita mestilah kena ambil cash yang deposit in conventional punya account. Sama same goes to total debt ni lah. Dia cakap debt yang will include in this total debt is the interest bearing debt, whereas Islamic debt ataupun suku will not be part of the calculation. Sebab kita sekarang tujuannya nak screen dan syariah compliance punya debt. So kita kena ambil total debt yang ada interest je dalam dia. Okay, yang syariah compliance punya debt tak payah ambil kira. Itu maksud dia. So dia kata the aim of both ratio here is to capture and measure interest based element within a company profit and loss ataupun financial position. So which should be less than 33%. So ingat je yang ini tadi financial screening for AC screening must be less than 33%, and untuk business activity ada dua benchmark, satu 5% and another one 20%. Untuk tadi IOV standard business activity dia tadi kan, dia guna ni ada satu je which is less than 5% tadi. Untuk financial screening ada 4. Sebab sini total long or short term debt, total debt dia terus bagi market capitalization
Ni must be less than 30%. Sepatutnya awak buat macam ni lah, so that korang boleh nampak ni. Total interest bearing securities, market capitalization less than 30%, and apa lagi, interest income. Ini securities. Macam notes pun korang boleh buat sendiri pun kan. Tak apalah, saya tulis je. Quote adalah yang tulis sama-sama dengan saya. Okay. Nampak tak dia punya perbezaan? AC screening and IOP screening. So nanti dalam soalan dia boleh tanya tau. I mean dia boleh statekan lah sama ada this business akan di-screen based on IOP ataupun based on AC screening. So ini korang macam kena hafal lah. Kalau final exam dalam online, probably open book. So just prepare the notes for this. Okay. Next. Ini adalah share tadi kan. Now kita move to the types of ataupun classification of investment. The share ataupun the sukuk tadi tu sama ada dia beli untuk trading purpose, sama ada untuk available for sale ataupun untuk help to maturity. So ini adalah dia punya terms lah kan. So the basis of IOP classification ni is based on a well-known Sharia classification of trade commodities for the purpose of zakat. Okay, untuk IOP classification dia cakap orang invest in the business tu adalah untuk zakat, the main purpose. Tapi juga juris of Maliki School dia classified this trading asset ni into the following. So kalau untuk trading purposes tu, maksudnya the asset tu are meant for buying and selling. Kalau dia kata available for sales, maksudnya the asset that are held for sales in the expectation of making profit through price appreciation in the future. Okay. Maksudnya kalau available for sale, kita akan dapat return ataupun kita akan dapat duit cash from the sales of the asset lah. But kalau dia held for maturity, dia hanya acquired the asset but not for trade and it is for personal use. Macam kita dah explain tadi lah, kalau the company beli aset tu hanya untuk help for maturity ataupun hanya boleh help for maturity, so the asset tu tidak boleh dijual, ya betul lah, tidak boleh dijual sampai habis maturity date. So itu maksud help for maturity. Sebab tu dia hanya sepanjang macam maturity date tu hanya digunakan untuk personal use je lah. Okay. And then dia cakap kat sini lah, accounting recognition requirement for suku. Recognition ni macam mana? Maksudnya nanti kalau suku ada transaction on suku, awak nak recognize di suku macam mana dalam dia punya financial statement lah. So according to IOP FAR618 standard, Jakarta has recommended that the recognition for investment in suku and share shall be recognized on the acquisition date and shall be written at cost. Okay, let's say tadi, one investor dia beli suku ataupun share tadi. Show pula dah. So investment through suku and share ni, dia kata dia kena masa dia acquired tu, alhamdulillah, masa dia acquired tu mestilah at cost price. Itu maksud daripada statement tu. And however, at the end of the accounting period, investment suku and share held for trading purposes and available for sale shall be measured at their fair value. Maksudnya bila dah habis acquired lah, maturity date dah ends. Dia punya price tu mesti calculate at fair value price. Maksudnya bila ini adalah untuk atau share yang for trading purposes and available for sale sahaja. Sebab trading purposes ni kan memang untuk dijual juga ataupun dibeli. And sama juga kalau available for sales ni, dua-dua akan terima ataupun akan dijual lah at the end of maturity date. So kalau kita nak jual tu, at the end of maturity date tu, mestilah dijual dengan harga fair value price. Okay. And then dia kata unrealized gain and losses as a result of remeasurement need to be recognized in the income statement. Maksudnya kalau tak terjual tapi kita apa tu aset yang tadi tak terjual tu, kita as the investor kita tak tahu pun whether that asset terjual ataupun tak. Kita hanya dapat dividen ke tak. So that barang yang terjual tu kita recognize is as unrealized gain atau loss. So this unrealized gain atau loss ni kena transfer in kita punya income statement ataupun in kita punya soci. So ini macam dia punya basic recognition. Nanti kita tengok soalan on journal baru korang boleh tengok, boleh nampak kan. As for income related to unrestricted equipment investment, unrestricted equity investment, maksudnya apa tu, maksudnya investment yang unrestricted, dia tak ada pun. Contoh macam investor tu dia provide capital tadi kan, ataupun yelah dia provide capital tu tadi, dia belilah the asset. So the rock woman, dia punya modal ataupun dia entrepreneur yang menggunakan fund tu boleh digunakan sukarela lah, tak ada restrict sangat. Maksudnya tadi yang the capital provider tu, investor tu dia tak put syarat-syarat. Oh duit aku ni kau kena invest to this, kau tak boleh guna to this, tak ada. So itu maksud unrestricted, dia boleh gunakan the fund to invest in whatever project yang dia suka. Itu maksud unrestricted equity investment. Cara nak recognize this gain, dia ni dicakapkan any unrealized gain or loss resulting from remeasurement must be at fair value. Mesti fair value juga kalau at the end of the maturity date in case dia nak jual. Tapi dia types of unrestricted investment, so dia sama calculate dia at a fair value price, and dia kena recognize the statement of financial position under investment fair value reserve. Maksudnya nanti the value of unrealized gain or loss tadi tu, dia kena put it under investment fair value reserve, in SOFI. Itu hanya teori saja. Nanti kita buat banyak-banyak soalan so that macam korang boleh practice on this recognition. Okay, so ini dah masuk example. Macam saya cakap, example ni saya tak nak masuk lagi sebab dia panjang. So macam kena ada satu kelas untuk explain dia punya example saja. So itu saja on report. Oh kan saya cakap ada satu kan, kan investment ni ada 3. Suku kita buat overview lah belum habis lagi. Tapi untuk hari ni kita dah belajar on suku, the first types of investment. Kita dah belajar on share. Nanti after kita dah belajar calculation, kita belajar ataupun the last types of investment, which is on the real estate investment term. Ni real estate tau. Real estate ni tak ada calculation banyak sangat. So dia more to like theory sahaja yang banyak. So 2 ni yang akan banyak calculation sikit. Okay, itu saja.